Discipleship is about information that causes our mind to be renewed, that is able to continually save us. Many things, when we came to Christ, there are many things that still needed to be spiritually dealt with. This
I've been learning all throughout my life. I just wanted more from the Lord, and I knew that there had to be more to him than what I currently had access to. I wanted to see miracles. I wanted to see, I don't know, it's not necessarily miracles, but let me get to my point. I'm sorry. So we left off on the part that I get to this new country in my school for the first time in my experience for my student account. My school did not send me my financial aid. So my campus in Ecuador, they were helping me try to narrow down how to contact my university in the United States. I had a local phone to contact people in Ecuador, but it was going to cost me a lot to call my campus. And that, of course, if you know, you just know that it's very hard to get a hold of people on the phone if you're only able to contact them by phone because they're not responding by email. So I didn't want to put minutes on that Ecuador phone and keep spending money that I didn't have to call them because I didn't have any money dispersed to me from my school for my scholarship. I discovered that basically FAMU was getting ready to disenroll me because I hadn't quote unquote shown up to class at the Tallahassee campus. And somehow someone dropped the ball in just having on record all of the documentation that I submitted and all of the papers that I had signed by different department heads. Someone dropped the ball in making sure that stuff was on file and scanned in and all of that stuff. So they were basically in the process of disenrolling me because I hadn't shown up to school in Florida. So obviously I'm not going to show up if I am in another country and it has been documented that I am studying abroad. So after we got through all of that, I was fine. But in the midst of me going through that process with my university, not only was I praying to be close to God prior to getting to Ecuador, me in Ecuador was a whole nother story because I was dependent on him for my protection. I was dependent on him for my provision. Like, I needed money and I didn't have it right away. And yes, I did have a supportive family, but there were certain things that I just wanted to take care of. Like, my tuition to my international school was late because of my situation with my local Florida school not sending me my money. So it was just a lot that was going on, extra fees and things like that because of the lateness, right? Let me remind you also, I am a Benjamin A. Gilman International Scholar, and with that designation comes responsibility. So basically, you join the specific organizations that you need to join that are catered to travel and culture study. So I had become a part of a travel and culture study organization by default as a recipient of the scholarship. This scholarship required me to be invested in the culture of Ecuador and to speak on how, this is a good place for Americans to be, and just showing the little kids in different elementary schools across the world what it's like to live in Ecuador. So literally I had video calls with students and presentations that I was submitting to classrooms in the United States to show the good of Ecuador. And I'm just going to post pictures of my time in Ecuador to show that I really did have a wonderful time, and I was studying their culture. Of course, I was speaking their language. I had a host family. They were absolutely amazing. I was being fed natural foods with fresh ingredients from the market down the street every single day. Like I was just giving all of the highlights of what my experience in Ecuador was. It's basically like I was reporting to them how great Ecuador was as a United States ambassador. That's what my role was. So I'm just sharing, I'll share a few things about Ecuador, but being in Ecuador, God allowed me to really be able to sit under him without all of the distractions that I would normally have being surrounded by my own culture. So I'm away from the HBCU campus life. I'm away from the university life. I'm away from all of the pressures to be so fashionable. I'm away from all of the pressures to always have your edges laid, to always have your nails done, to always have everything just perfect, right? The many things that the Black culture is just so big about became very small to me in Ecuador because I was on business. Like this was a business and education trip. My 3 main important priorities was my school, my internship, and my host family. So I was learning to communicate with them in Spanish. I was going on family outings with my host family. I was just learning a new set of people. This is the home that I'm living in. They welcomed me into their home. And then, of course, I had my internship. Well, I was learning under a surgeon and her staff of nurses. The reason that I came to this internship was because I was going to have direct access to a surgeon. This was for me to figure out if I really wanted to go to medical school. So I said, I'm going to go learn from a surgeon. In the U.S., you can't get a lot of direct access to surgeons, but in the other countries, you can. I was learning how to take blood pressure. I was giving injections. I was learning how to give a physical just the same way that doctors do, to see if I envision myself doing this every single day. I learned so much. Oh, my goodness. I just got to give a shout out to all of the people in Ecuador. I learned so much at this school. I learned so much with these people. I learned so much with this staff of doctors and nurses. They were absolutely amazing and very welcoming to me. My host family was amazing and so welcoming to me. That's something that I'm going to come back to, my host family, because my lifestyle with them and the diet that I had, coupled with my internship, allowed me to decide what I really wanted to do in my life. So now I'm going to go to the third priority that was going on, which was school. I had PowerPoint assignments. I had essay assignments. All of my assignments were given and submitted in Spanish. So I was not only speaking Spanish every day, but I was writing essays and papers and paragraphs in Spanish. So I was completely immersed like I wanted. I wanted to completely just get away from everything, all of the foolishness. And that was like Ecuador gave me what I was looking for. I wanted to learn a new language. I wanted to just show myself how great I was away from everything I had known. And I flourished. I saw who I was. At my school, I was on an accelerated track because I was learning so fast. Like the Spanish was coming so easy to me. And even my accent, like the friends that I made here in Ecuador, they would tell me, even your accent is just like you're Ecuadorian. It was like, because I'm serious, like I am coming here and I'm standing on business. Before standing on business became a thing, I was standing on business. Like I was so focused. I was so on it. I was so serious, but I was also having a great time because I was doing the things that I loved. Like I loved helping people. I started tutoring the native students here at the school, teaching them English. And of course, they would help me with some of my Spanish. I was doing tutoring sessions after school. a voluntary tutoring session with different students. I even started a music club at the school because I was telling them that, of course, everyone knows one of the best ways to learn a language is to sing songs in that language. So that led me to start a music club where we met. I don't remember how many times, but we met to sing and do warm-ups together. I taught them voice lessons from what I learned being in the Florida A&M University concert choir. And also I had high school experience being in the choir, and I had, under the direction of Dr. Samuel Shingles in Jacksonville, Florida, like I came from a music background, and I was teaching them English through music. And we even had a showcase. We had a showcase where those Spanish students sang the songs that I taught them in English on one of my last days of the internship. I also did a performance for the school during graduation. I had sang the Star Spangled Banner, the national anthem for the United States, this school was a Ecuadorian American immersion school. So they did both a performance for the Ecuadorian national anthem and the American national anthem at all of their services. So they're like, you can sing. Would you like to do the national anthem? And I said, absolutely. So I was serving, I was giving, I was understanding who God made me without even having to be told what to do every morning. I woke up and gave everything my absolute best. I woke up and gave everything my absolute best all my life. Let me make that clear. But in Ecuador, I was free from the foolishness. Okay. My prayer life, it became so much more of a focus because I didn't have like a lot of social pressures happening around me all the time. Everything in Ecuador was very conservative. So it was like I was allowed to be able to focus on the real important things, not the things that people say are important, not all of the events that people say you need to do and go to be somebody and all of this. It was none of that. Like, I was focused on my prayer life with the Lord so much so. And it's like, of course, I was in prayer. I was asking God, what are my next steps? Here I am in Ecuador. You've led me all the way to Ecuador. Where else will you take me? And it was in Ecuador while I was studying for the MCAT to go to medical school. I was studying under this surgeon to go to medical school that I started to hear God tell me about myself. So he wasn't answering the prayers like I thought he was going to answer them. He started exposing me to myself. What do I mean by that? I would start to have dreams, visions, and basic revelations just by reading my Bible. It's almost like the words were speaking to me in my head and in my heart. And it was like the words were speaking to a specific thing that was bothering my heart. One of those specific things that was bothering my heart was I had just recently had a breakup. So that led me to specific prayers about breaking soul ties, breaking any soul ties from relationships that God did not call me to be in. That relationship, the relationship before that. So I learned of course, I was watching church services online and all of that stuff. And there was also a ministry that was teaching me how to pray, because I would go online and say, how do you pray about blank, blank, blank? I would literally go to Google and type in how to pray against blank. If I had a dream about something that really scared me, I would go onto Google and ask God to lead me to the right thing, of course. But either way it go, I was searching, how do you pray against spider dreams? How do you pray against this kind of dream? Like, I was having all kind of dreams. And one of the dreams has shocked me so much. God was showing me that I was a witch, okay? God was showing me that my initiation ritual into a sorority group, and this doesn't have to be this particular sorority group that I was in. It is any kind of group that requires initiation rituals, okay? Any group in the world that requires some kind of initiation ritual where you are speaking words that are damning your own soul, okay? Let me be very clear. God was showing me reenactments of the rituals that were being performed so that I could become a member of the sorority that I was a part of at the time. So that really shocked me. I had never expected to ever see that was a bad deal that I had made. Listen to me. A lot of people think that I left the sorority life because of drama. A lot of people think that I left the sorority life because I had 73 or over 70 line sisters. They were trying to say that I left the sorority because I couldn't deal with whatever. Something must have happened. I must have gotten into an argument. I must have had a bad experience with my many 70 sisters. No, that's not the case. And this is why I have to tell my story, because I actually had really good experiences with those young ladies. I had wonderful experiences with those young ladies. I was not in arguments with them. Everywhere you go, any friendship that you have, and even in some of y'all's relationships that y'all still in and ain't left yet, y'all still arguing with that same person, but that don't make you leave that person alone, not necessarily. I did not leave. Let me make this clear to all of the people who are falsely believing that I left the sorority because somebody did something to me. Ain't nobody do nothing to me, because I wasn't no sucker, and I never really been. I know I'm super nice and I've always been nice, but I don't just let people try me. So nobody did nothing to me. It wasn't no specific drama that happened. It wasn't no fight, no argument, nothing happened. God showed me that these rituals are equivalent to witchcraft. They are darkness. This is the way that the initiation goes down is fashioned after the world of Freemasonry. Okay, so basically God was showing me in my dreams that by me initiating into this thing and initiating others after I was a member who was able to initiate other people, I was participating in Freemasonic practices by implementing the rituals and the chants and the songs, and keep making sure the sorority plots, which are different places on campus, me making sure that the sorority plots were not messed up, me making sure they were clean. That was my act of service to that organization. That organization is a spirit. God was revealing me to myself. And it was almost like he was giving me all of these things and showing me who I really was. And also at the same time showing me what I needed to let go of in order to move forward and in order to get the real answers in the real depth of the relationship in Christ that I wanted. I was having dreams about so many things, and I don't really need to get into the details, but what I want to make clear, God was helping me really go through my life inch by inch. And he showed me everything in it that was displeasing to him. And I was so shocked that most of what I was involved in was displeasing to him. I will come back with a part 3. God bless you.